It's such a blustery, rainy day here in Connecticut. This is so perfect for yummy pumpkin pancakes, just in time for the Halloween festivities. Let me wait just a couple minutes. I'm almost there. And welcome, welcome, welcome. I have everything ready. In fact, I might even turn on my stove just to heat this up a little bit. I'll wait. So and so. Just a couple minutes. Hello, everybody. If you guys want to join me and cook with me right now, I'm making both the original and the vegan version, and both recipes are on the description. So if you want to follow, or if you want to do it right after, so they will be right off the stove, right hot off the griddle, for you to serve them to your guests. Yay, Catherine! Hi. Oh, my dogs get so excited every time I raise my voice like this, which with excitement, which is basically all the time. Okay. Oh, Barley! As soon as Barley stops, we're gonna start. Shh, Barley. Good girl. That's my good girl. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. No, Barley. Shh. Today is a blustery Sunday morning here in Connecticut, and it really feels so perfect to make yummy pumpkin pancakes. It's just, it will fill the kitchen with those wonderful aromas of cinnamon, nutmeg, pumpkin. Yes, I know, Taji. Um, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to say about pancakes is they're very simple to make, and oftentimes people use a mix, pancake mix. But oftentimes in these pancake mix, sometimes you just add water, and those are kind of the worst because if you look at the food label, they are filled with sodium, salt, and baking soda, and baking powder, and unnecessary sodium, supposedly to make it more tasty. Not so sure. I think it's to stimulate the appetite center in the brain, but that's a story for another day. Um, and they are they're kind of a hassle anyway because you have to open the box and put the water. Some of them you also have to put the egg and the oil and sometimes the milk. So it's not a really shortcut. So why not make them from scratch when it's just as easy and you can control what you put in them? And oh, they're so good. So let's get started. I'm going to make my original version of my pumpkin pancakes, and then I'm going to make my vegan pancakes, pumpkin pancakes, the equivalent, but vegan for those of you who are interested. We can compare. I'm not sure which one. I think I like the original better, but it's not that clear because you'll see they're fluffy and light and very flavorful. So let us get started. So let me just show you what I'm doing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is sift my flour. You don't have to. I mean, if you want to cut corners, you can. Nothing terrible is going to happen. I just find that they're a little bit more fluffy. And instead of white flour, of course, I'm going to use white whole wheat flour. White whole wheat flour is made out of hard wheat, which you would think is hard, but it's not. Hard wheat is um, very soft and sweet and very light in texture. So 1.5 cup, one. And of course, the reason why I use it is because it's a whole grain, 100% whole grain. It's not a mixture of white and whole wheat. It is 100% whole grain, and therefore it has all the nutritional value of a whole grain, protein, fiber, vitamins, and etc. So then I am going to put some baking powder that you must have. Now, in baking powder, there is sodium already. So if you wanted to make sure it was, salty, whatever, to enhance the taste, you have enough here. 1 teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And I'll tell you why I like to use the combination, because I am also 1/2 teaspoon. I'm also going to be using apple cider vinegar to make it bubbly. And you will see for yourself. So then, let me show you. Instead of cinnamon today, since I'm making pumpkin pancakes, I'm using pumpkin spice. So good. All it is a mixture of cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves. How good is that? Very, very fall-like and perfect for pumpkins. So I'm going to put some of that here, however much you want. Don't overpower it, but a nice, I don't know, an eighth of a teaspoon. Okay. So then I just sift it. Oh, the nutmeg smell is just lovely already. I find baking, especially on a Sunday morning, and especially those sweet pancakes, is very relaxing. And I don't feel like I have to rush. I'm not going anywhere. And you guys are with me, just enjoying this, at least here in Connecticut, Sunday rainy day. I don't imagine I have anybody from California because it's very early there. There we go. Every little bit. Okay. So I have my flour mixture. Again, white whole wheat. Oops. White whole wheat. 1 teaspoon baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. And some pumpkin spice. Good. I put it aside. Now comes the wet ingredients. So the wet ingredients, because this is not vegan, my original, is with eggs. So I start with 2 eggs, my 2 eggs, and I try to use eggs, cage-free eggs. Oops, I put a little, ugh. Oh well. Cage-free eggs as much as I can, because I don't want my chickens to have been unhappy, and also it does affect the result, the eggs. If the chickens were happy in pasture and eating good stuff, their eggs will be that much better. So a win-win. So I whisk them a little bit. A little bit to make them fluffy. Okay. And then I put 1 1/4 cup of milk. I like to use low fat or non-fat milk. Then 2 tablespoons canola oil. Make sure you don't use the regular canola oil that's really highly processed. This is cold pressed organic canola oil. It's really worth your while, because it is actually a very healthy oil when it is cold pressed, and it doesn't taste like anything. So that's perfect. 2 tablespoons. Okay. And then I'm going to put 1 teaspoon apple cider. And again, the reason why is I want to, it's like when you make buttermilk pancakes. I don't want to use buttermilk because it is very high in sodium. And I don't need to, because if you use a little bit of acid like vinegar, and apple cider vinegar even gives it that little lovely appley taste, but not very much, because you'll see I only put 1 teaspoon. It makes it bubbly, and you'll see the batter will be lighter for it. So 1 teaspoon. There. And finally, the star of the show, pureed pumpkin. Make sure you use not the pumpkin pie can, but just the pumpkin can, which is 100% pumpkin, no added sugar, no added anything. Okay, 1/3 cup. Can you see that? 1/3 cup. When I will look up at the screen, you can ask me questions. Right now, I'm not looking. So let me get this. A third of a cup of pumpkin puree, 100% pumpkin puree. And mix it. So far, I'm just showing you how to make them. Then I will tell you how to make sure with the heat, with the timing, with how to dispense them. You need to make them perfect every time. So I have my dry ingredients and my wet ingredients. I'm going to put a little well in the center of my dry ingredients, and I pour my wet ingredients. Mix, but not too much. Enough that it will be nicely smooth, but not too much because you don't want it to be, it will make the pumpkin batter the pancakes rough, tough. I mean, you don't want that. You just want to incorporate the flour. Okay, that's enough. And then finally, nice crushed walnuts. Crushed, chopped, however you want them. About, I don't know, a third of a cup, a quarter of a cup, whatever you want. Not too much because you don't want to overwhelm everything. And then just stir it once. I am going to let it rest for a few minutes because it's going to bubble up. You're starting to see, actually, I'd love for you to see this. You're starting to see a little bit of the bubbles, right? It's kind of reacting, the milk and the cider vinegar. So let it sit for a minute. And then I'm going to put it in this dispenser. It's nothing. You can get it anywhere. And there are different types. But what's nice about it, you'll see, I'll put it in here. And then I just squeeze it. And it comes out of the bottom. And then I stop. And it's perfectly round, perfectly equal. It'll be great. But for now, I'm going to let it rest. While I let it rest, I'm going to show you the vegan version. Remember all this, and we're going to get back. We're going to bake. We're going to cook them, obviously. You'll see. But I want it to rest, so that's a good thing. So now, let me move on to my vegan version. Wait, let me fix my hair. It's in my face. Can you see this? No. Can you see this? Let's just see. There. So let me fix my hair. Okay. Okay. There. Okay. So the vegan version, same, everything for the dry ingredients. 1.5 cup white whole wheat flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, half a teaspoon baking soda, and some pumpkin spice. Set it aside. Now we're going to work on the wet ingredients, and that's where I make it vegan. So it's very similar, in fact, but I have to change the eggs, obviously. And to change the eggs, in replacement of the eggs, I'm going to put aquafaba. Aquafaba is the liquid that's inside of a can of chickpeas or any beans. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to whip them up just the way I did the eggs. So get a can of, here this is chickpeas, but I've done it with beans, cannellini beans, even with red beans. When you beat it, it doesn't show the red. It just looks fine. It looks just like a regular white. It looks almost like egg white. So 1/3 cup. And don't worry, you're not going to taste it. It's just going to replace the texture of the eggs, but you're not going to actually taste it. So you whip it up a little bit, just like I did the eggs. Just fluff it up a little bit. See how it's starting to. In fact, if you were to fluff this whip it in a stand-up mixer, it would become like egg whites, really peaks and everything. So it's a great substitute. There. And now I proceed just the way I did for my wet ingredients for the original, except that of course I'm going to use a plant-based milk. In this case, I used almond milk. You can use soy milk. You can use oat milk. I love oat milk. Oh, and I should mention that the aquafaba, it doesn't add any protein. It doesn't add any nutrition because it's it's so dilute. It's just there really to replace the eggs. So 1 1/4 cup, 1 1/4 cup plant-based milk, almond milk here. 2 tablespoons cold pressed canola oil. You can use another oil if you want. You notice I'm not using butter. I don't want to use a saturated fat of butter. I mean, if you really love butter and you have to, do. But in terms of nutrition, I really stay away. And I'm a Frenchie. I mean, butter used to be my staple years and years ago. But I really don't want the saturated fat. I want my vitality. I want to have my arteries clean and free of clogging. And then, of course, where's my teaspoon? 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And, of course, the star of the show. Where's my 1/3 cup? Yeah, a 1/3 cup of pumpkin puree. There we go. And you don't want to do too much because, I mean, enough to give it the beautiful taste of pumpkin, but not so much that it's going to be mushy. You don't want mushy pancakes. So, where is it? Oh, okay. So now I'm going to mix this. And just like I did with the regular pancakes, I'm going to put the wet inside of the dry ingredients. Good. Here are the dry ingredients. Here are the wet ingredients. Now, while I wait, actually, I want to turn on my stove, and I'll tell you why. So, the well in the center, wet ingredients, and mix. Not too much, again. You don't want to make the pancakes tough. Enough so that there are no clumps. Doesn't it look already so similar to my regular? I'm going to have to do them separately to make sure I can tell them apart. And I'll put them on a different color plate so we will keep track of what is what. I mean, I think we'll taste the difference, but not so much, which is a good thing. And of course, my little walnuts. Walnuts are beautiful nutrition. They are filled with omega-3. And although nuts are, high in calories, and you would think that's not a good thing when you're trying to control your weight, it's actually they're actually filled with nutrients and vitamins and protein. And therefore, they fill you up and they give you that boost if you want a quick boost. And you don't need very much. They are wonderful. Okay, so one more mix. And we're ready to go. And I will let that rest. Now we have our other batter, which has rested and has little bubbles. And I am going to put it in this measuring dispenser. Not measuring, a dispenser. And I love it. You don't have to do it. In fact, for the vegan pancakes, because I don't have two, I'm going to make it with a ladle. So you get to see both. So I put it in there with the nuts and everything. This should make 10 to 12 pancakes, depending how large you make them. A little messy, but that's me. Okay. So let me get this out of the way. So the first thing you want to make sure before you start, and oftentimes the first pancake is never the best, but let's try to make it the best this time because you're here and I want you to see the very first one be best. That's why I turned on my stove so that it's really hot. In fact, what I want to know, in order to know if it's really hot enough, is I take a little water and go, ooh, this is perfect. See? Perfect. Okay. So I don't want it to be too high once it's the perfect temperature. I don't want it to be too high. I don't want them to burn. I want them to be perfect. So here we go. Watch this. You notice I didn't put any oil, any butter, nothing. Let's make just two for now. Okay. Isn't that beautiful how it just came out and it wasn't messy? Okay. So here is, you have to be patient. With pancakes, you have to be patient. It's not going to take very long, but what you have to make sure is that you're not impatient and you try to turn them before they're ready. You just want to turn them once, flip them once. The part that is the most important is the first heating of the pancake. And you will know that they're ready and you can time it. It's going to be a little less than 2 minutes, depending on how hot your stove is. But look, let me show you. It's not ready yet because what you want to see the bubbles starting to form, which you are, and you're going to see the sides becoming dry, and it's going to get dry closer to the center, not quite, and filled with bubbles. And when it's filled with bubbles, only then will you flip them. Only then and once. And once you flip them, that one time, you're not going to stay very long on that second side. You just want it maybe 30 seconds. Let me show you. The first ones are never the best. So let's see. Oh, look, this is perfect. See, it's easy to, oh, I burnt it. Oh my goodness. You know why? Because I overheated but that's okay. The first ones are not the best. Let me get this out of here. At least this is au naturel here. You'll see I'm going to get better as I go. The first one is never the best. I'm going to turn down my heat. It's too much. But this is 25, 30 seconds. And here we go. You can tell they're very, very, you see how light and fluffy they are. But I'm going to redo that because I didn't like that. So let's do this. Okay, ready? 1 and 2. Oh, also, I should mention that sometimes you need to stir this a little bit in between, make sure it doesn't get clogged or anything. Okay, so let's watch. Boom, 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 boom. It's starting to have the little bubbles. Now, if you turn them too quickly, then the batter is going to, spill as you turn and spill. So you want it to be pretty bubbly. Ooh, I hope my stove is not too hot. I always get them just perfect, but because I'm talking to you, and I am, where's my spatula? Maybe they won't be as good, but no, you can tell it's cooking less fast, which is a good thing. So I have more control over it. I don't know if you can tell though how thick they're getting and fluffy. You'll see when I when I cut into them and eat them. But see, it's much slower. You have to just titrate it, get it just right. But there are not enough bubbles here. Not enough bubbles. Let me see while I wait. I don't want to overweight. But how do I make baker's cream? I don't know. I'm ready for pumpkin pancakes. Yay, Diane! Oh, Diane is my sweetie. She is my jazzercise instructor. She is full of energy and joy. Oh, I'm so happy you're here, Diane. Okay, so I'm ready. Let's see. So I'm picking it up. Ooh, very, very nice. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Just like you want them to be. And let's say 30 seconds. You certainly don't want the inside to be raw. So you don't want, but you also don't want to overcook because they're going to be, like rubber. You don't want that. Let me just see. Sometimes I even put my timer just to be honest with myself because I'm busy with other stuff and I do 25 seconds on the second part. Boom, boom, enough. So because you second guess yourself and you say, oh, maybe I didn't cook it enough, and then you overcook, not good. Okay, so so I'm going to put the original. Remember this color. This is a fall kind of colors. This is going to be the original. We'll do the vegan in a minute. Okay, enough. Oof, beautiful. Okay, so let me turn this off for a second. So at this point, of course, you want to put a little, in my case, I'm going to put vegan butter, and there's a particular vegan butter that I like. I used to use Smart Balance, but recently they have reformulated that stuff and it's a little watery, and you don't want it watery. So I found this brand. Also, Earth Balance is good. But anyway, I found this brand and I like it. Okay, let me just show you. And so I put a little butter, quote unquote, on my pancakes. Of course, let it melt. Okay. And then 100% maple syrup. Now, maple syrup is still, it's sugar. It's more natural than regular sugar, but it's still sugar. So don't drown your pancake in maple syrup. But certainly do not use, if you can, the syrupy stuff that there's out there, the fake maple syrup, because really it's just high fructose corn syrup and flavorings and dyes, and it doesn't taste as good as this. And when you make good pancakes, especially pumpkin pancakes, you want maple syrup. So a little bit of maple syrup. And I like to put some crushed walnuts, sometimes bananas. And I'm going to cut it for you to see, and I'm going to eat it. So for you to see how fluffy they are inside. Just a second. Let me see. Can you see me? Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, it's even a little too hot to eat, but look at this. Nice and fluffy. This is so good. Wait. A bit syrup. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to my vegan pancakes. Okay, so I turn on my stove, not too hot. And here is my vegan batter. It has rested nicely. And this one, I'm going to do it with a ladle because some of you may not have the other dispenser, and it's not necessary. It's a little bit more messy with a ladle. Let me make sure it's hot. Okay, there we go. Oh, I want to show you how it goes on my stove. There. Ready? Oh, I like to hear the shh. Okay, let me show you. Make sure you're seeing it. Are you seeing it? Okay, so same deal. We want to wait for the bubbles. We want to be patient. We want to do it just once, flip it just once. So that very first side, that the first side is the crucial one. Because there, again, you're going to get this little dry, this bubbly, so that when you flip, no batter will go all over the place. Okay, so let's be patient. That's part of it. Once your stove top is, you keep on doing it. And oftentimes when I had all my children here, I would have a big griddle, and so I could do 6 at a time, boom, boom, boom. And um, and we would eat them. It's like a order, short order cook, where the kids, they're eating it as I'm making them, but that's okay because we have here. I'll show you. This is our breakfast table. Can you see it? I don't know if I'm showing it. No, am I not showing it? Anyway, that's the breakfast table, and literally, I would hand it over to them. You can ask them. There's my pancakes. Okay, so let me not get sidetracked here. That's what I often do, and then it burns. Okay, so it's taking a little longer. I don't think it's because it's vegan. I think it's because I turned off my stove in between. But let's be patient. This is clearly not ready. Although you do see that the outside is getting dry, which is good. Dry, by dry, I mean baked, cooked. Um, but it's not quite ready. Ah, I see a little bubble there. This is exciting. Oh, okay. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. See, I was a little impatient. And you see this here? It's a little messy, but not too bad. And I am going to also serve them for you to see. Oops, let me just. Okay. On this plate. So that's the vegan plate. Remember that. So when I taste them, you tell me. I mean, I don't know how you will. I mean, you will know because you will see whether, first of all, they look different, and secondly, um, I'll be honest. How are they different taste-wise, flavor-wise? Flavor-wise, probably not too much because it's everything is the same except the egg and the kind of milk. Okay, let me not over talk here. No, not yet. Just 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So same thing. Little vegan butter. Look how beautiful they are. Little vegan butter. Make them pretty. Vegan butter that's starting to melt. A little maple syrup. Oh, so you can see it on your side. Yes. And now I'm going to cut into it and see. Can you see me? No, you can't see me. Yeah. So. Oh my God. Okay. So let's look. Also very fluffy, nice and light. Let's see how they taste. I've never done a side-by-side taste, so this is good. I'll be honest. I mean, when my Natalia, I think she's watching from Boston. Hi, Natalia. Hey, yay, Susan. They look yummy. Thank you. When I make them for her, I make just vegan, and so we love them. I've never done a, side by side, so we'll see. Oh, I forgot to add a few nuts on top. Okay. So, ready? a little hot. Mmm. 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 So, mmm. They're a little bit more, what shall I say? I mean, it's tight. I don't know. Um, I guess, I don't know. I don't know that I would really taste a difference. The vegan one may be a little bit more chewy is not the word, and a little bit more. You taste the pumpkin puree a little bit more, a little bit of that consistency, whereas this is more of a pancake with pumpkin. The other one is I don't know. Anyway, it's delicious. And now I can take your questions. I want pancakes, Akar! Yay! I love the enthusiasm. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you, Beverly, for asking me this beautiful question. She says, I'm just cooking for one. Can I keep the batter for the next day? Yes, yes, you can. In fact, when my son was young and he was devouring these pancakes, these make 10, sometimes 12, depending on how big. And he wouldn't eat 10 on the way to school. So let's say he would eat 5. So I would keep this. There is a top to it, and I would keep it in the refrigerator. And the next morning, just do it. It was great. Not only do they keep beautifully, now, although you'll make sure that once you put it in the refrigerator, it's possible. First of all, you want to mix it again, and it's possible you may add a teaspoon or two of the milk that you use, almond milk or regular milk, because it may be a little thicker the next day. You can also freeze the batter. That's a beautiful thing. You can freeze it in an airtight container, and then you have to defrost it, at room temperature. Be very, very patient, or overnight in the refrigerator. Don't try to do it in the microwave, to defrost it in the microwave. Another thing you can do is, if you want, you can make all your pancakes, and then once they're cool, lay them flat on one of those big Tupperware that's flat, and lay them flat. It's nice to use a little parchment paper in between, and freeze them, and then you take one at a time, and just wonderful. So you can keep that for a month, and that's a beautiful thing. But definitely, the batter will keep certainly just like that in the refrigerator for 1 or even 2 days. So you're in luck. I love that. Let's see what else. What other questions? They do have some from. Oh, wow, Beverly, you are from California. Thank you for getting up so early. I am honored. That's so sweet. Oh my goodness. Now that's real devotion. So while I wait for you guys to ask me a couple more questions, I'm going to have a little bit. I think, and Natalia, don't be mad at me. I think I like the regular better. I do. I do. I think I do. But really, it's a tight competition. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I'm just going to let you go make your pancakes. Enjoy the day, and bon appetit. Bye, everybody.